When we talk about SHTF scenarios, when the shit hits the fan, we're talking about those rare but devastating events that completely disrupt the normal functioning of society. These are situations where you can't just run to the grocery store, flip on a light switch, or call 911 when something goes wrong. Think about hurricanes that wipe out entire coastal towns, earthquakes that reduce buildings to rubble, pandemics that keep everyone locked inside while supplies dwindle, or economic collapses that trigger widespread panic and chaos. The specific disaster might change, but the core challenge remains the same. How do you survive when all the systems you normally depend on suddenly stop working? Preparing for these kinds of situations isn't about giving in to fear or becoming obsessed with doomsday scenarios. It's about taking a proactive approach that could literally save your life and the lives of your loved ones. This means gathering essential supplies before you need them, developing skills that don't rely on modern technology, and building a mindset that can adapt to sudden changes. If you're finding this information valuable, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more survival and preparedness content that could one day make all the difference. The knowledge I'm sharing today might seem simple, but when crisis strikes, these basics become absolutely crucial. So take action today. Start building your supplies, honing your skills, and strengthening your community ties. Your future self might thank you in ways you can't even imagine. When society breaks down, securing food and water immediately becomes your #1 priority. These are the absolute basics you need to survive. Start by building up a stockpile of shelf-stable food that can get you through weeks or even months without access to stores. Focus on foods that don't require refrigeration and provide good energy. Things like canned vegetables, fruits, meats, and soups are great, along with dry goods like rice, beans, pasta, and oats that can be prepared in different ways. When you're planning how much to store, aim for about 2,000 calories per person per day, and adjust based on age and activity level. To put this in perspective, a family of 4 looking to have a 3-month supply would need around 720,000 calories worth of food, which sounds intimidating but is totally doable with careful planning. Store everything in cool, dry places using airtight containers to keep pests away, and make sure to rotate your supplies regularly so nothing expires and your family stays familiar with the foods you're storing. Water is even more critical than food. You can survive weeks without eating, but only a few days without drinking. Plan to store at least 1 gallon per person per day to cover both drinking and basic sanitation needs. For a family of 4 preparing for 3 months, that's a minimum of 360 gallons. Definitely a significant amount that requires thoughtful storage solutions like stacking food-grade water barrels or water bricks in a garage or basement area. Beyond just storing water, you should also know how to find and purify water from your environment. Collecting rainwater in clean barrels can provide a renewable source, and knowing how to safely take water from streams or ponds can be life-saving. Boiling water for a full minute will kill most harmful organisms, but if fuel is limited, you can use a few drops of unscented household bleach, about 8 drops per gallon, then wait 30 minutes, or water purification tablets. Portable water filters with ceramic elements or activated carbon can also transform murky water into something safe to drink, which is especially important if you need to move locations. For longer-term survival situations, growing your own food provides a renewable source of nutrition that can sustain you indefinitely. Even in urban environments, you can grow food in containers on a balcony, or create vertical gardens using PVC pipes to grow vegetables like tomatoes, peppers, or herbs. If you have more space in a rural setting, consider planting high-calorie, storage-friendly crops like potatoes, beans, or winter squash. Creating compost from kitchen scraps mixed with leaves or grass clippings will give you rich soil to maintain your garden. And if you're in or near wilderness areas, learning how to hunt, fish, and forage can dramatically expand your food options. Simple wire snares can catch small game, and basic fishing techniques can provide protein-rich meals from local waterways. Take time to study which wild plants in your region are edible. Things like dandelions, cattails, and certain berries can supplement your diet. But it's crucial to practice identifying them correctly before you're in a situation where mistaking a toxic lookalike could be deadly. Your shelter is your sanctuary in an SHTF scenario. It's where you retreat from danger and regroup when the outside world becomes hostile. If staying in your home is possible, take steps to strengthen it against potential threats. Install heavy-duty locks on doors. Keep plywood ready to board up windows during storms, and use blackout curtains to hide light from outside viewers. Create a designated safe room stocked with essentials for that extra layer of security. Not every crisis allows you to stay put. Floods, fires, or violence might force you to leave. Have a backup location ready, whether it's a rural cabin, a friend's house, or your vehicle equipped with emergency supplies. If you're outdoors without shelter, knowing how to create one from scratch could save your life. A basic lean-to made from branches against a fallen log and covered with leaves protects from wind and rain. In colder conditions, a debris hut stuffed with dry grass and leaves traps body heat effectively. In snowy environments, a snow cave provides good insulation, though proper ventilation is essential. A tarp or heavy-duty garbage bags can provide a waterproof layer for any improvised shelter. Maintaining warmth is critical when modern heating fails. Learn to start fire without matches. Friction methods like bow drills can create embers with dry tinder. And a magnifying lens works on sunny days. Inside a structure, a wood stove or fireplace serves as both heat source and cooking surface, while small propane heaters work as alternatives with proper ventilation. Improve insulation with blankets or newspaper between walls and furniture. And don't forget that wearing wool socks and a hat to bed helps maintain your core temperature through cold nights. When law enforcement is overwhelmed or absent and desperation drives people to extremes, protecting yourself and your resources becomes a critical concern. Start by conducting a realistic assessment of the threats in your specific location. Are you more likely to face opportunistic thieves after a natural disaster, or organized groups during a prolonged societal breakdown? Secure your shelter according to these potential threats. A solid door with a deadbolt is your first line of defense, but adding a door bar, jamming a chair under the doorknob, or installing metal brackets in the doorframe can make it much harder to break through. Windows are vulnerable points that can be reinforced with security film or wire mesh, and placing thorny branches or rose bushes under ground floor windows creates a natural deterrent. Creating simple alarm systems, like stringing empty cans along a fence or property boundary, gives you early warning when someone approaches. The metallic noise when the cans hit each other can alert you even while you're sleeping. Self-defense is about more than just fighting. It's about staying alive in potentially dangerous situations. Training your body through regular exercise and practicing basic self-defense moves builds muscle memory that kicks in during high-stress situations. Even something as simple as a walking stick or a rolled-up magazine can become an effective defensive tool if you know how to use it. Striking at vulnerable areas like knees or the nose can give you precious seconds to escape from an attacker. For those comfortable with firearms, they offer significant protective capability, but only if you're properly trained. Clean and maintain your weapons regularly, store ammunition appropriately, and practice at a range so you're not fumbling when it matters most. Remember that ammunition may become scarce, so learning alternative hunting or defense methods like using a slingshot or fashioning a spear from a sharpened branch attached to a pole gives you options that don't require bullets and can be used silently. There's tremendous strength in numbers, and building a community network transforms individual vulnerability into collective resilience. Connect with trusted neighbors before crisis hits, identifying what skills and tools each person can contribute. Perhaps someone is a former military medic, another is skilled at carpentry, and another has communication equipment. Create a system for sharing resources and establish a watch rotation so someone is always alert for trouble. Develop simple signals that everyone understands. 3 whistle blasts might mean gather at the meeting point, while a continuous blast indicates immediate danger. Be strategic about storing your supplies. Consider hiding extra food in sealed buckets buried under a shed, or stashing medications in hollowed-out books so word doesn't spread about what you have. If staying put becomes too dangerous, plan escape routes in advance. Identify less traveled paths through backyards or wooded areas, and move during low-light conditions like dusk to reduce your visibility to potential threats. When hospitals and pharmacies become inaccessible, maintaining your health becomes entirely your responsibility. Build a comprehensive medical kit with bandages, gauze, antiseptic wipes, scissors, and medications like ibuprofen, antihistamines, and any prescriptions your family needs. Learn essential medical skills like wound care and practice more advanced techniques like suturing a cut with sterilized needle and thread, or creating improvised splints from sticks and cloth. Memorizing CPR techniques, chest compressions at 100 beats per minute, could save a life when professional help is unavailable. Sanitation prevents disease outbreaks that can be deadlier than the initial disaster. Dig a latrine at least 6 feet deep away from water sources, covering waste with ash or soil after each use. For indoor situations, use a bucket toilet with a tight lid and biodegradable bags. Maintain personal hygiene with sponge baths using boiled water to prevent infections. If commercial soap runs out, make your own using rendered fat and lye from hardwood ashes. For dental hygiene, brush with baking soda when toothpaste is unavailable, and keep toilet paper or clean rags for sanitation. Balance physical health with mental well-being during extended emergencies. Include vitamin C sources in your food stores to prevent deficiency diseases. Stay physically active through daily movement, and manage psychological stress through deep breathing, journaling, or sharing stories with family. Prioritize sleep. Try natural remedies like pine needle or chamomile tea for insomnia, giving your body the recovery time needed to face each day's challenges. When cell networks crash and the internet vanishes, staying connected and informed requires creativity and planning. Two-way radios or ham radio equipment with the proper license lets you communicate over significant distances. Familiarize yourself with emergency frequencies and connect with other radio operators in your region. For closer range signaling, simple tools like a signal mirror that reflects sunlight or a whistle with a distinctive 3-blast pattern can cut through environmental noise to alert others to your location or needs. Learning basic Morse code gives you a universal language that can be transmitted by tapping on pipes, blinking lights, or even waving a flag. Just knowing how to signal 3 dots, 3 dashes, and 3 dots again, SOS, could save your life in an emergency situation. Gathering reliable information becomes challenging but absolutely essential when normal news sources disappear. A hand crank or solar-powered radio lets you tune into emergency broadcasts without worrying about batteries dying. Scan AM and FM bands as well as shortwave frequencies for weather updates, official announcements, or reports from other surviving communities. When technology fails completely, turn to nature's signs. Watch for unusual animal behavior, like birds suddenly taking flight, which might signal approaching danger, or learn to read cloud formations to predict weather changes before they arrive. Navigation without GPS means returning to fundamental skills. Keep detailed paper maps of your area and learn to use a compass properly, identifying landmarks like distinctive hills or river bends to maintain your orientation. At night, finding the North Star can guide your direction if the sky is clear, or look for natural indicators like moss growing more thickly on the north side of trees in the northern hemisphere when other options aren't available. Creating your own communication network with nearby allies dramatically improves your situational awareness and security. Establish regular check-in times where everyone briefly transmits their status, and develop a simple code system where ordinary-sounding phrases carry specific meanings that wouldn't alert hostile listeners to your true situation or resources. For written messages that might be intercepted, basic encryption methods like shifting letters a certain number of positions in the alphabet can provide some security. Set up multiple meeting points where people can exchange information in person if electronic communication fails completely, and consider training younger family members as runners who can safely carry messages between locations. Remember that in uncertain times, information becomes as valuable as physical supplies. Knowing which roads are blocked, where resources can be found, or which areas have become dangerous could determine whether your group thrives or struggles. When the power grid fails, alternative energy sources become essential for basic functionality. Solar power offers reliability. Panels mounted on a roof or positioned to track the sun can charge deep-cycle batteries for use during cloudy periods or at night. Use a charge controller to prevent battery damage. Wind power through small turbines can supplement solar in breezy areas. Gas generators provide substantial output for high-power needs, but manage fuel carefully. Learn to safely siphon gasoline from abandoned vehicles and store fuel properly with stabilizer added. Conserving energy is just as important as generating it. Use LED bulbs that consume minimal electricity and wear warm clothing instead of using electric heaters. Cook on fuel-efficient rocket stoves that run on small twigs instead of valuable propane. Improve thermal efficiency with heavy curtains over windows and reflective materials like aluminum foil to retain heat. Alternative charging methods can help. A bicycle connected to an alternator can generate enough power through an hour of pedaling to charge small devices. thermoelectric generators that convert heat directly to electricity, can power small devices when other options aren't available. Adopt a tiered approach to power usage as resources dwindle. Start with stored fuel for generators, then transition to prioritizing only critical needs like communication equipment and medical devices. Long-term, adjust your lifestyle to match available energy charge batteries on sunny days and structure activities around daylight hours. Keep manually powered alternatives like hand-crank flashlights and wind-up radios to ensure basic functionality when all power generation options are exhausted. A reliable vehicle can be your lifeline when danger approaches, but keeping it operational during extended emergencies requires forethought and maintenance. Keep your gas tank at least half full at all times. Store additional fuel in approved containers with fuel stabilizer added, and maintain a supply of essential parts like belts, oil, filters, and spare tires to handle common breakdowns. Learn basic auto repair skills like changing a tire, replacing a battery, or patching a radiator hose. Simple fixes that could mean the difference between escaping a dangerous situation or being stranded. If gasoline becomes unavailable, bicycles offer an excellent alternative. They're silent, require no fuel, can navigate through tight spaces where cars can't go, and can carry surprising amounts of gear when equipped with panniers or a trailer. In rural settings, horses or other pack animals represent a traditional but effective transportation option, with the added benefit of being able to travel off-road and carry heavy loads, though they require significant care in terms of feed, water, and shelter. Planning your movement strategy is just as important as having transportation. Map out at least 3 different evacuation routes from your home, avoiding major highways likely to become clogged with traffic or vulnerable to flooding, and identify a rally point a day's journey away where separated family members can reunite if communication fails. Pre-position emergency supplies along these routes if possible, creating caches hidden but accessible to your group. Keep a fully stocked bug-out bag ready for each family member, containing a tarp for shelter, waterproof matches, enough food for 3 days, a knife or multi-tool, and basic first aid supplies, positioned near your exit for immediate grab-and-go scenarios. Practice loading your vehicle or preparing for evacuation on foot so the process becomes automatic, timing how quickly your household can be ready to move and refining your plan to eliminate delays and confusion. Movement tactics change depending on whether you're traveling through urban or rural environments. In cities, staying off main streets reduces your visibility and avoids potential checkpoints or crowds. Use alleyways, drainage channels, or railroad rights-of-way as alternative paths. Moving during twilight hours provides enough light to see without being easily spotted from a distance. In rural areas, following natural features like ridgelines gives you better visibility of your surroundings, while staying under tree cover keeps you concealed from aerial observation. Pay attention to terrain that could slow you down. River crossings, steep slopes, or dense vegetation, and factor these obstacles into your time estimates. Whether on foot or in a vehicle, traveling in silence by eliminating unnecessary noise from equipment and practicing hand signals for communication helps avoid attracting unwanted attention in areas where other people might view your supplies as desirable resources worth taking. When modern conveniences disappear, practical skills become your most valuable asset. They can't be stolen, they don't run out, and they improve with use. Fire-making stands among the most fundamental survival skills. Practice creating flames without matches or lighters by striking ferrocerium rods against steel to create hot sparks that catch in charcloth or fine tinder, or master friction methods like the bow drill, where you spin a wooden spindle against a fireboard until the friction creates an ember. Knot tying is another essential skill. Learn versatile knots like the bowline for securing loads or creating rescue harnesses, the taut line hitch for adjustable tension on tarps, and the square knot for joining ropes of similar thickness. Water collection and purification techniques round out the basics. Experiment with creating a solar still by placing a container in a hole covered with plastic sheeting to condense pure water from soil moisture, or build a sand and charcoal filter that removes particulates and some contaminants from murky water. Expanding your skill set to include practical food procurement and preparation ensures self-sufficiency beyond stored supplies. Practice cooking over open coals with improvised equipment like a spit made from green wood or a flat rock used as a griddle. Learn food preservation methods like sun-drying thin strips of meat to create jerky, smoking fish over smoldering wood chips, or fermenting vegetables in brine to extend their usable life without refrigeration. Basic hunting and fishing skills provide renewable protein sources. Try making simple snares from wire or cordage to catch small game, or craft fishing hooks from safety pins and lines from strong plant fibers if commercial equipment isn't available. Develop your ability to navigate without technology by tracking the sun's position throughout the day, identifying north using an improvised compass made by magnetizing a needle and floating it on water, or recognizing landscape features from different angles so you can find your way back to camp from any direction. Medical knowledge becomes particularly valuable when professional healthcare is unavailable. Beyond basic first aid, learn to identify common medicinal plants in your area. Plantain leaves can soothe insect bites when crushed and applied to the skin. Willow bark contains natural compounds similar to aspirin, and garlic has antibacterial properties useful for treating minor infections. Practice improvising medical supplies from available materials. Clean t-shirts can be torn into sterile bandages after boiling. Duct tape can close wounds in emergency situations, and splints for broken bones can be fashioned from sturdy branches padded with cloth. Dental emergencies are often overlooked in survival planning, but techniques for temporarily filling a cavity with softened candle wax or clove oil to reduce pain can prevent a toothache from becoming debilitating. Building these diverse skills requires regular practice under increasingly challenging conditions. Start in your backyard with all your tools available, then gradually remove conveniences until you can confidently perform these tasks with minimal equipment, preparing you for whatever scenarios might unfold. Surviving alone is possible, but incredibly difficult. Building connections with others creates a network of skills and resources that dramatically improves everyone's chances. Before disaster strikes, introduce yourself to neighbors and discuss potential cooperation. Discover who has medical training, who owns useful tools, and who has specialized knowledge in mechanics or gardening. When crisis hits, establish regular community meetings to share information, coordinate security, and solve problems together. Create clear decision-making guidelines and fair resource distribution methods. Simple communication systems like flag signals or horn blast patterns ensure everyone stays informed without electronic devices. When traditional currency loses value, bartering becomes essential. Stockpile items with high trade value that are small, lightweight, and fulfill universal needs. Things like salt, sugar, ammunition, batteries, soap, or alcohol. Your skills also become valuable trade commodities. Offering to repair tools, teach, stand watch, or mend clothing provides value without depleting your supplies. Begin with small exchanges to build trust before attempting larger transactions. Track trades in a notebook to prevent misunderstandings, and remember that fair trading builds goodwill that could be more valuable than getting the best deal. Someone you help today might share crucial information or help defend your shelter tomorrow. A well-organized community goes beyond survival to rebuild functioning society. Establish specialized roles based on skills while ensuring everyone learns basic self-sufficiency. Create simple systems to resolve disputes before they escalate, and develop protocols for safely integrating newcomers. Schedule community activities that maintain morale and cultural continuity. Storytelling nights, music, or celebrating holidays create psychological resilience and preserves humanity during difficult times. As weeks turn into months, emergency survival shifts towards sustainable living systems. Water remains your foundation. Install rain barrels under downspouts or dig swales on slopes to capture runoff. Manual well pumps access groundwater without electricity. For food, focus on perennial plants that don't need yearly replanting. Fruit trees, berry bushes, and perennial herbs produce with minimal maintenance. Save seeds from your strongest annual vegetables and store them properly. Create renewable energy systems with available parts. Simple solar setups last for years if protected, while microhydro systems generate consistent power near suitable streams. Transform waste into resources through composting toilets and compost systems that convert kitchen scraps into soil for growing food. The psychological aspects of long-term survival are equally important. Create calendars marking seasons and important dates to maintain time's rhythm when external systems fail. Teach children practical skills alongside cultural knowledge through stories and traditions. Find beauty in difficult circumstances. Carve decorative patterns on wooden utensils, or grow flowers alongside vegetables. Schedule regular rest periods to prevent burnout, recognizing that sustainable living requires balance. Keep physical records of important information in handwritten books, medical treatments, growing techniques, resource maps. creating a shareable knowledge base. Looking years ahead means focusing on community continuity and adaptation. Develop educational systems combining practical survival skills with broader knowledge like mathematics and history. Create apprenticeships where youth learn specialized skills from experienced practitioners. Establish trading relationships with other communities, exchanging surplus goods for items you can't produce. Maintain flexible systems that adapt to changing circumstances by diversifying food sources, balancing mobile and fixed assets, and continuously learning new skills. The most successful long-term survivors build regenerative systems that produce more than they consume, while creating communities that adapt and support each member through changing times. Preparing for SHTF scenarios isn't about embracing doom and gloom. It's about developing the confidence and capability to face whatever challenges come your way. By thoughtfully stocking essential supplies, developing practical skills that don't depend on modern infrastructure, cultivating strong community connections, and building mental resilience, you transform yourself from a potential victim into someone who can weather the storm and help others do the same. Remember that true preparation isn't just about personal survival at all costs. It's about maintaining your humanity, upholding your values, and being part of rebuilding something worthwhile when the immediate crisis passes. The most successful survivors throughout history haven't just been the strongest or the best equipped, but those who could adapt, cooperate, and find meaning even in the most difficult circumstances. Don't let the overwhelming nature of disaster preparation paralyze you into inaction. Start where you are with what you have. Fill one water container today, learn one useful knot tomorrow, introduce yourself to one neighbor next week, and gradually build your preparedness in manageable steps. If you've found value in this guide, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I release new survival content regularly, and your support helps me continue creating these potentially life-saving videos. Each small action increases your resilience and contributes to a foundation that can support you through uncertain times. Share what you learn with others, especially young people who benefit tremendously from understanding self-reliance and practical skills. The confidence that comes from knowing you can take care of yourself and your loved ones in difficult circumstances doesn't just prepare you for potential disasters. It enriches your daily life by connecting you more deeply to your environment, your community, and your own capabilities. So take that first step today and continue building your skills and resources bit by bit, not out of fear, but out of the empowering knowledge that you're ready to face whatever challenges might come.